Hello. Alrighty, got this live started here. Just invited Blue Nosed Aerial Imaging to join. Let's see here. Alrighty. Now we're just gonna wait for Tanner to go. There we go. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good, awesome. That was easier than expected. How's it going?
Good. How's the Thursday treating you so far?
Oh, so far so good. We have some nasty weather here, so
Oh,
not
yeah.
good to have an indoor activity for the day.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you doing this for us. This is fantastic. This is a great experience and great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I see you joining in, so hello everyone. And yeah, no, we're super happy to have you here. This is our second time doing an Instagram Live, and I feel that it's just a really great way to connect with our community, get some really awesome conversations going out there. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So I see some people joining. Hello, everyone. Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna, I think, jump right in. Basically, we wanted to bring you here today because you have been a Skywatch policy holder for quite some time. I know you had a policy with us since I think January 2020, so over a year now.
Yeah.
So I think you're familiar with our insurance and what Skywatch offers. And of course, you have such a great background in aviation, and I think you could really contribute to our followers and our community. Share about your experience and your background, and also just to talk to us about what it is that you do today and what the company currently work for. So I'll let you do most of the introduction, of course. Everyone's still joining in, so you haven't missed the introduction from Tanner yet. I'll hand it over to you in just a second. And for those of you who are with us, feel free to ask questions as we go. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. And oh, we lost Tanner for a second. Let's see. Hopefully it comes right back. Oh, there we go. You're back. Okay, perfect. So feel free to type in your questions as they come along, and we'll kind of address them later as we get towards the end of the conversation. So with that, I'll hand it right over to you, Tanner. Please, tell us about yourself, your background.
Well, yeah, Yuval, like I said, I really appreciate the opportunity today. I mean, this is just fantastic. Skywatch is critical to what we've been doing for the last, over a year now. And it's just, I just rave about it all the time. So I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the service that you guys provide. I mean, it's fantastic. It's flexible. It's affordable. I mean, so it's really just kind of a no-brainer on our end. But yeah, the way that I got into the drone business was, actually, a couple of years ago, my wife and I moved out here with our two young kiddos here to Denver, Colorado. So I started flying for the airlines out here, and then before that, I was a pilot with the Navy. So I did that for about 11 years, primarily in Oklahoma and Virginia, and kind of grew up in a military family. So that's really it was probably 2014, 2015 timeframe when I started kind of kicking around the idea of starting a drone business. And at the time we were living in Oklahoma City, and you can imagine the roofing industry in Tornado Alley is constantly booming, right? I mean, it's just tornadoes, it's hailstorms, it's everything. So, that's kind of when, off the shelf commercial grade drones were starting to become available. So we started kind of kicking around that idea. And then, fast forward 5 years, we hadn't done a thing with it. We transferred twice with the military. My wife and I both had transitioned into different careers. We had two kiddos as well. So, I mean, we were just slammed the entire time. So we just never really had the opportunity to do it up until, I guess about a year and a half ago now. And things were we had gotten settled here in Denver, and we had a little bit of extra time on our hands. So decided to start Blue Nose LLC here. Was working with a website developer right around this time last year. And then we launched the site in the end of February, early March of 2020. And that's when it really took on an entirely different direction. We had several colleagues of mine that I'd flown with in the Navy or at United reach out and ask, how do we do this? What do we have to do to set up our own location? And as I'm sure we're all familiar with, this is also right when COVID was just taking its grip on the United States in particular at that point. So at the time I wasn't sure, I didn't know exactly what to do. So we we contracted with a franchise attorney here in Denver and kind of figured out what that looks like. And that's what we've really been focusing on since then is trying to develop our brand across the nation and really try to achieve that type of standardization in our operation, which is what I think the drone industry really, really needs right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, a lot of people reached out to you and contacted you, and today you have people working with drones all over the United States, not Colorado, right? So how many, pilots have joined in today to officially launch?
Yeah. We officially started launching franchises back in August, actually. So it's not been terribly long, only about 4 or 5 months now. And since then, we've got 14 franchisees who've signed on, and we just launched our 10th location last week, actually. So yeah, it's been a blast so far. We've been growing rapidly. I think there's a real demand for it, and it's been a blast to just meet other people too, and listen to their stories and what they're going through, especially in this last 12 months or so.
Right.
And a lot of our guys are, and our franchise owners are pilots, primarily professional pilots, whether that's from the airlines or the military. Most of them have a background in aviation. So, I can relate to what they're going through, and they can, and they're eager to kind of establish a little bit of, I think, financial security, and take care of their family and the people that they care about the most. Because that's, we've all learned that lesson the hard way the last year or so. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and I definitely think, we've all seen the drone industry really develop, as you mentioned, from 2014 to 2021, where we are now. There's been so much growth, and so there really is a lot of, especially at this, difficult time in the States around the world. So to be getting into the drone industry, I think a great time. One thing I do want to kind of talk to some of the people listening and some drone pilots out there, we with a lot of individual pilots who kind of create their own LLC or users who work for a larger scale company. And as you mentioned, you guys are really focused on franchise aspect and kind of bringing this service nationwide, and each pilot kind of their own and work, but kind of being under this franchise. So I'm just interested to kind of know the process to bring Blue Nose aerial imaging into the franchise, and what you guys are doing, or kind of what your intent is, rather than looking at as individual LLC.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you hit on a really, really important concept, I think, within the commercial drone space. And that's, on one side, you've got, thousands and thousands of individual operators out there who might have an LLC, who might be insured, right? Hopefully they're Part 107 certified, right? But, so that's one end of the spectrum. The other side of it is, more well-established companies, right? Who might have some type of UAV team in-house, who's perhaps assisting, an engineering team, or maybe it's a farmer, right? Who's gone out and bought a drone. And so they've got that type of equipment on hand to assist their operations. In the middle is what we're trying to focus on, right? That's the target window, I think, for us, because on this side, there's a lot of people out there who don't know what the next steps are. They don't know do we need to file an LLC? Do we need insurance? What kind of drone should we have? How do we get training? All of those questions, we're trying to provide that answer for. Mm-hmm. and really try to streamline that operation and the onboarding process, right? So with just like any franchise model, it's about standardization and quality assurance, right? So that is our primary focus. First and foremost is standardization. Secondly, it's about expanding the network across the nation, so that we can then approach this side of the spectrum and say, does it make much sense to you guys as well-established companies to have, drone operator on staff, to have, sophisticated drone technology there that's going to be, obsolete probably in the next couple of years, to worry about training, to worry about proficiency, to worry about certification? I don't know. I would say that it probably doesn't. You could probably do this more affordably if you look at, more well-established national drone service providers. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build that brand name recognition and make sure that we've got the ability to reach out across the country to support our strategic partners whenever they ask, and then that's what we're really trying to focus on.
Awesome. And so what kind of things do you guys offer? So, the pilots who approach, they already have their certifications? Are they already insured? Have they gone through training? Do you provide, what requirements do you ask pilots that approach you to come?
Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, just like I said, in the beginning, this was really focused on professional pilots, right? And part of that is because they already are certified with the FAA under Part 61, right? So they're an existing certificate holder. So their Part 107 certification is very, very streamlined. It's much more condensed. had you not had any background in aviation whatsoever. So that makes a whole lot of sense for us, especially while we're starting out, right? To try to build that base and really rely on that type of expertise in aviation. That said, we're starting to expand into really trying to focus on franchise partners who don't have that type of expertise available, right? So now we've got the ability to help them get trained and certified, and then when they actually come on board with us and they actually sign the franchise agreement and they are now a Blue Nose partner, yeah, then we have standard photography training. We've got standard GIS and remote sensing training. They've got the use of our proprietary manuals that were written by our aviation consulting partners down in Texas. So all of this stuff is then kind of what we call our business in a box. So it literally shows up on their doorstep, and there's the drone, there's the manuals, there's their Blue Nose apparel, right? There's everything that they need to kind of open up shop. And then as we get closer to launching their site, they actually meet one-on-one with our business. It's called the Better Software Company. They're out of Canada, and they focus primarily on providing a software suite to support franchise operations. So they go through one-on-one onboarding with them, and this is nothing to do with the drone. It doesn't have anything to do with flying the drone or anything like that, but it is the back office suite, right? So this is how we interact with clients. This is how we develop quotes and invoices and scheduling. So all that stuff is preloaded into that. They have their own portal as a franchisee. They'll also have access to a training portal as well to kind of work on those drafts and those templates. So a little bit of back office stuff. But then, once it's all said and done, I sit down with them one-on-one and we go through the franchise agreement. We make sure that we've also looked at the franchise operations manual and just basically clarify any type of questions that they have. And then we launch them, and they've got their own Google My Business page, their own Facebook page, all that stuff so that they can interact with clients in their own local area. And really just kind of work it autonomously, right? Have that type of ability to focus in their specific exclusive territory, which is also a part of their franchise agreement. So that's kind of the standard onboarding process. It usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks. We've had our most recent guy did this in about like 2 weeks. I mean, he just really ripped through it very quickly. So it can be done fast. But it just depends. We want to try to provide that flexibility. A lot of people are juggling other full-time, kind of 9 to 5 jobs, or they've got, family that they're trying to balance too. So it takes some, understanding, and that's totally fine, right? So, that said, once we actually launch their location, then it's ongoing support, right? We've got a GIS scientist on staff. We've got a professional photographer on staff. We've got a whole nationwide network of pilots available to assist as well. So that's what we're trying to focus on, is developing that team.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because today we pretty much know that you can get the training you need, whether it be online or in person, and get certified and buy a drone at a relatively decent price. But, the competition exists and there are professionals out there. Sometimes you just need that extra, assistance in really making sure that you're showing yourself professionally and that you have you. And I think that all the offerings that you just mentioned can really help pilots establish themselves professionally, and at the end of the day to network with people who are in them. With that being said, I am interested also to know kind of like a lot of technical support, and you guys have an awesome platform that helps, but in terms of outside of the drone operations, right? So not just going out and the job, but what about marketing? How do you go about marketing and the Facebook presence and Instagram and things like that, or content wise? What kind of effort there?
Yeah, that's a critically important concept, and it's so central to our entire franchise model. Just like most franchise models out there, what's great about that is that you're not only getting that type of turnkey streamlined solution, but you've also got a network that's typically, not always, but usually they are contributing to what's known as like an advertising fund, right? So it's a separate bank account entirely that goes to marketing campaigns, right? Coordinated marketing campaigns across the country, not only from a national perspective to kind of help Blue Nose develop its brand name, but also to the benefit of the individual franchisee. So that, that's kind of this collective effort, right? So this is leveraging, the entire nationwide team, right? So that's what's kind of unique about a franchise model. And one of the things that we try to emphasize when we're talking with folks who might be interested in Blue Nose is that, you're not out there by yourself. You're not alone, right? You've got other people who are in the exact same boat, who are trying to do this, who are trying to be their own boss and take back a little bit of control over their own financial future, right? So that's one aspect of it, right? There's a national marketing piece to our franchise model. The other component is, actually just last week, we launched a search engine optimization audit on our website, right? Because our website, I'm super proud of our website. It's fantastic. It's a great way to interface with clients and prospective franchisees and just a number of other folks. But it's not perfect either, just like most websites, right? So there's aspects about it that I don't have the background in, right? I'm just not like your IT guy who's got a ton of search engine optimization experience. But so we contracted with a company out of Canada, actually, named Cognita, and they went through and did an SEO audit for our website, and they're focusing on conversion rate optimization. So that really what we're trying to do is focus on the ability for any client to show up to the Central Blue Nose website, be able to contact me directly. I'm like, okay, well, actually, you need to talk with, Chip down in Southern California, or Skylar in South Carolina. These are the people that are closest to you, or they can reach those franchisees directly through our locations page. And that way, we can just kind of continue with the operation, right? We can go after clients can come to us, and we can just, provide that type of coverage, I think, across the country. So, that's also then, I think, supported by the Google My Business page and the Facebook page as well, that we set up as a part of the onboarding process. And then obviously, use of the mark, if you will, right? I mean, we're registered trademarks, brand names, logos, things like that. So there's a lot of aspects of the marketing and advertising piece, and it's constantly evolving, right? There's not a silver bullet to that. So we're looking at, right now, trying to develop a job posting board, actually, internal to our website, because we've got a number of partners, primarily in Utah and Pennsylvania, actually, that we're trying to support to kind of help them develop their operation, right? And they've got their own clients. So these are primarily software developers. So they're like, hey, we need coverage in Tennessee and Georgia and Alabama and Minnesota and California and Oregon. We need that, yesterday. So that's what we're really trying to focus on, is making sure that we can help our partners develop their brand and get their business going as well. So that's what we're really trying to expand pretty quickly to be able to achieve that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it sounds like you guys are really, putting in the work on behalf of pilots and the drone industry. I think there's some comments here about, what makes Blue Nose different from using other pilot networks. And then Jason here said standardization. And I think your willingness to learn and work with pilots and making sure that people are, getting the best service and doing safest and manner. Echoing, so I just want to make sure that my sound. Okay.
Everything good?
What's that?
You good? Everything good?
Yeah, there we go. We should be good. I think that really goes a long way. And at the end of the day, and especially at Skywatch, something that we're interested in is ensuring that the drone is shown in the most professional and light. And hearing about networks like Blue Nose Aerial Imaging or doing this work and making sure that things go into place effectively is really what we want to support too. One last question that came up while you were talking. I'm also interested if you guys specialize in certain operations. Is there kind of, specific field that you guys like to work in, or certain jobs that are more, catered towards your pilots? And then in addition to that, what kind of drones and equipment are you using? Or anything like that.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt. No, that's a great question, right? So as a part of our franchise package, the DJI Mavic 2 Pro is a part of that, right? So that's, and I think why I'm obviously familiar with this, and probably most of the people here are, that's really kind of the flagship drone for DJI, and DJI being, really kind of the global leader in having that type of market share in the commercial drone manufacturing space. Who knows if that lasts? I think that'll probably change here in the coming years. So we'll continue to look at different options as well. But that's really the baseline, right? So just like you just mentioned, I think Jason had said something about standardization, right? That's what really the key component, right? It's standard equipment, it's standard training, it's standard manuals, right? It's that level of consistency. And at the end of the day, after we've done the job, it's standard deliverables for our clients, right? Mm-hmm. So to your point, the question about what type of fields that we're operating in, we focus primarily in training on solid photography skills, because at the end of the day, that's what it always comes back to in my perspective, right? Because so much of the work that we do is business to business, right? It's B2B sales, and we're content creators, right? We can provide still photos or videos or orthomosaic maps or 3D models, elevation maps, all that stuff we can provide through the use of our drones and you know, the training that we're adhering to. But you know, really the focus is to make sure that that type of standardization is available across the country, no matter what, right? We're not going to Chick-fil-A and getting a Big Mac kind of thing, right? So that's what we're trying to focus on. It comes back to photography because of the fact that we're content creators and we can provide them, our clients, really with advertising content for their website, for their social media presence, what have you, right? Here in Colorado, I focus a lot on commercial marketing and precision agriculture. That's really kind of what I think is kind of the core need in this region. That's different on, you know, different parts of the country, right? I mean, we've got franchisees in Miami and, you know, New Jersey and Seattle, all over the place. So it just kind of depends on what they're interested in. A lot of times we also emphasize starting within your own personal and professional networks, right? So that's a good way to kind of get the ball rolling and make that type of initial contact, get your foot in the door, and start developing your own individual portfolio. From there, we've also got those nationwide contracts available to kind of help support the operation. So a lot of us are starting to look into the roofing space as well. That's a pretty, we've actually, you know, one of our strategic partners is pretty big in that place. And you know, actually the other side of it too is golf course management. You know, it's kind of a unique aspect of what we're trying to focus on, and we've got a partnership in place with a company in Pennsylvania who's providing that type of interpretive software, right? So, you know, real quick, I won't keep you know, just blabbering on here, but you know, as drone service providers, I think you'll probably see, and probably most of the folks here can relate to this concept of not quite achieving the 100% solution, right? So I call this the 10% problem. We can have the drone, you know, we can go out in the field and take the imagery. We can even process the imagery. Oftentimes we have problems analyzing the imagery, right? Unless we have a real specific background and, you know, maybe we're an agronomist or a construction foreman or a superintendent on a golf course or something where we truly know how to analyze that type of data available. So that's what we try to emphasize as well. We've got the people available to do that, right? And they're strategic partners of ours. They're also trainers of ours who are going through that GIS and remote sensing workshop as a part of our onboarding. So it's just really, it's kind of up to the individual franchisee and the location that they're operating in, really, to develop their own client base.
Okay, that's great. Room for, you know, kind of out there and see what kind of your local.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the really exciting part of what we're doing is that we're creating a nationwide network of entrepreneurs, right? So you're truly your own boss, right? You set your own hours, you interface with your own clients, you choose what type of services that you specialize in, with the knowledge and the support and the understanding that you've got other people in the network who can provide all of that as well in the background. If by chance, you know, you're not a pro in precision agriculture or construction or orthomosaic mapping, whatever it might be, you've got other people in the network to fall back on it to help you really kind of advance your own operation.
Absolutely. And I think today, so much knowledge out there, there's so many places to learn that it can almost be overwhelming sometimes. And so really having that one strong foundational network that you know that you're a part of, and that being your resource, I think is a huge benefit.
I hope so. Yeah, that's something that we really try to, you know, get across to any type of prospect.
So of course, you know, the $1 million question here is, where does insurance play a role in all? You know, have been with us for a long time, even before launching the whole franchise. Many Blue Nose aerial pilots have also become policyholders. So I'm interested, you know, to hear your perspective on insurance and within the franchise.
So important. I mean, it is absolutely critical, because I feel like, you know, a lot of us could probably approach insurance with like, maybe I need this, maybe I don't. You need it. And with us, it's a required part of our agreement. So yeah, it will be in place, right? So Skywatch in particular, I'm a huge fan of, like I said in the outset, and that's where I recommend, you know, all of our franchisees to go. You know, a long time ago, I was doing a bunch of different, you know, a lot of research into different drone insurance companies, because if you're calling up, you know, the State Farms or the Allstates of the world, they kind of look at you like, what? How do we do this, right? And if they can provide that service, it's going to be probably a lot more cumbersome and a lot more expensive, because they're going to be outsourcing it to, you know, a specific, like a specialty aviation underwriter, which is typically much more expensive and really just not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about Skywatch is what brought me to it is the fact that they also have that invasion of privacy coverage as well, in addition to whole coverage, right? So if I'm flying my drone right into a tree, drone's going to be taken care of. If I'm flying in a neighborhood doing residential real estate photography, I've also got the peace of mind in the back of my head that says, if I really upset somebody, I've got invasion of privacy coverage in my back pocket, right? So having all of those things, one, is difficult to find, right? Like, it's not easy to find that in the drone insurance space. And so, I mean, truly, Skywatch, I think, is just one of maybe two that I realize and that I know of that can actually provide that type of coverage. But at the end of the day, having the insurance available is another nod to standardization. We've got to be Part 107 certified. We've got to have insurance. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to have the same equipment, the same training, the same deliverables, right? So it's that type of standardization that's really our core value proposition behind what we're doing at Blue Nose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think kind of, we at Skywatch want to have kind of a one-stop solution. We know that when it comes to getting insurance, you have a lot of different policies for your business, and whether it be general liability, and having kind of that one aviation policy that meets all of your needs, and you're able to change the certificate of insurance and modify the policy as needed, something that we want to cater to, and so that we kind of put in on just aviation needs to really make life easier for you guys. And I think for a company like Blue, where you guys have, everyone has their different missions, each person having their own policy, ability to modify their paperwork as needed per location and per client is great. You don't have to worry about out and talking to an underwriter or anything. You have all those tools online or on the app. So I'm glad that you guys have been able to, and like seeing you guys and seeing your experience, exactly what it is that we're trying to do. So
no, I mean, and that's exactly the flexibility that you're talking about that Skywatch provides is exactly what drew me to Skywatch to begin with, right? So it's not just, yearly plans or monthly plans. It could be broken down by the day or the hour, which is, I think, a tremendous benefit, especially for a drone operator who's just getting started, right? Like, they might not have the ability to just, have a monthly or an annual insurance plan right out of the gate, right? So they're very cost conscious. So the ability to actually purchase hourly coverage that was just incredible, right? I mean, that's just that type of flexibility, I think, was huge for me from the outset. That's it. On the other side of the spectrum, to be able to have, that 24/7, 365 throughout the continental U.S. or throughout the U.S., right? That's some real peace of mind. I can go fly the drone whenever I need to, and not, oh gosh, did I activate the 2-hour policy? It's there, So that's personally what I have. And it's been fantastic. And then the ability to actually achieve, like, say, flying discounts as well. That's huge. So it's a no-brainer for me when it comes to drone insurance. I always recommend Skywatch.
good. Well, I'm so glad to hear that. Definitely, as I said, this is exactly what we want to hear. We're more than just insurance. We want to really be involved with the industry and work with pilots. I see some comments in here about my connection off a little bit, so I apologize. On my end, I see Tanner well. So I wasn't aware that I was off. So I save the video. It'll be okay, and then you can kind of watch in later. I did get one question here from one of the viewers, and it says, "Is there a mapping application for the DJI Mavic Pro 2, and how does that impact something like this?" Do you have any comments on maybe a third app you guys use with the Mavic Pro 2?
For mapping, is that what the question was?
Yeah, for mapping.
I mean, there's a number of different solutions out there. A lot of them, really within the drone space, it's probably the most well-known are Pix4D and Drone Deploy, right? I mean, those are typically, I think the big players in the drone space in terms of orthomosaic mapping, and that the ability to kind of tap into a photogrammetry engine, right? So I've used both of them. There's some other smaller companies out there as well that have unique aspects of their platform. Measure, ground control, that's one of them, right? So there's a number of them out there. It's just really kind of depends on what you need in your type of operation, what you can afford, obviously the flexibility that you're trying to achieve as well.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great. So I do just want to ask one last question. Obviously this has been a long year, and you guys have been doing a lot of great things. I'm interested, what's next? What do you see happening in aerial image coming year?
Yeah. Yeah. I think our primary goal this year is to achieve 50 locations by the end of 2021, right? So we're at 14 right now. I'm
Awesome.
hoping that we can bring on, 2 to 3 per month and really get close to that 50 mark, because that's really where I think we're going to be able to achieve that type of nationwide coverage. So that is goal number one, to expand quickly with an eye on quality assurance and standardization. So that's our focus. There's a lot of other things in the background that we're kind of dabbling with right now in terms of maybe like proprietary software, right? So some more in line with interpretive software as well, kind of in the precision agriculture space, or construction management, things like that. So we're trying to look at what that means and what that might look like. That takes time. And we'll get there. But I think if we can achieve that, that's just a huge value proposition, I think, for any prospective franchisee, to know that they can come to Blue Nose. It's a low cost, low risk solution. It's it's a national team, right? We've got a bunch of people who are collaborating together with an emphasis on standardization, strategic partners at their disposal, and then custom Blue Nose interpretive software. If we can achieve that, that's a pretty big win, I think. I think that's a pretty valuable proposition. So yeah, that's what we're focused on.
Awesome. Well, we are with you guys. We're excited to see how you guys expand, and hopefully you'll reach that 50 goal. So last but not least, before we kind of conclude, and we've had some great comments here and heard so much value, and thank you. But before we close, is there anything that you want to encourage people watching join Blue Nose, or how to do it, how to get involved? Something that we haven't talked about, and some last minute words of it.
Yeah, it's check out our website, first of all. That's www.bluenoseaerial.com. That's got a lot of information about what we're doing and some of our goals and how to get involved with, especially with the franchising piece. It's also got my personal cell phone and email there, right? So I just want to talk with you, right? I mean, I think we're all going through a pretty challenging time right now, regardless of whether or not you're in the aviation industry. So, it's something that we can relate to, and we're trying to help provide those opportunities for people to become their own boss, really, and then help them along the way. So, that's there's some interesting initiatives that we have in the works, I think, with maybe partnering with some academic institutions and nonprofits as well. So we're really trying to approach it from a more holistic perspective, I think, and then not just that transactional, business to business interface, right? Really try to become servant leaders. That's one of our core values, actually, in our manuals. But so there's an emphasis on that and working beyond just drone operations. But I'm super psyched about it. It's just been a blast so far. It's been really, really busy, but tremendously exciting, and it's been fantastic working with people from similar backgrounds, but also people that we don't have a ton of backgrounds with. And that's the value of the network, is that they're providing that type of diversified thought, and it makes the whole team that much stronger, I think, in the actual operational space. So yeah, come check us out, bluenoseaerial.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn as well. So I'd love to chat with you.
I'll be saving this video, and then I'll be able to post it online, and I'll put all your details and your website, contact details, and everything. So for those watching in, they'll contact you and touch. And I say, I'm not a drone pilot, so I'm not able to work with you on actual operations, things out on the field, but working with you on communicating with you and content opportunity has been a pleasure. So I'm sure that all those with you have had, just a different experience.
Oh, well, no, I appreciate that, you all. I mean, it's been a blast. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Skywatch, and I have been for a long time. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys in the future.
Before we finish, we did get one actually really interesting comment. I actually wrote this online, so I think it'll be cool for you to answer. Somebody asked how you came up with the nose Blue Nose.
Yeah.
Blue Nose.
Yeah, it's Blue Nose. Blue Nose is an interesting name, right? I mean, it's like, what is that? But so Blue Nose is actually a nod to my time spent in the Navy. So it's within the Navy, and more generally speaking, just maritime services. You have what are probably best described as nautical orders, right? Meaning that this is largely custom and tradition. For example, when you cross the equator for the first time, you become what's known as a shellback, right? So there's a whole initiation ceremony as well. And so it's kind of this, nod to the Navy time. on the other side of it, when you cross into the Arctic Circle for the first time, you become a Blue Nose, right? So these are these kind of these orders that you're trying to achieve while you're in this type of service that are hard to get, you know. So that for us, that became that for that was kind of like the idea was, well, one, I want a name that's sticky, right? I want people to remember, like, what does this mean? It's kind of an odd name, but also have, you know, a nod to our military service, and conceptually with a, you know, kind of an emphasis on achieving excellence through standardization, regardless of the conditions, and to be in like challenging environments, things like that, right? So it's it's a nod to our time from the Navy. That's where Blue Nose comes from.
I think that also just shows through to your something that's special to you guys and your mission and everything. So thank you for sharing with us. Right, awesome. So I'm going to share that again. I'm going to save this video and share it. And those of you who joined in, thank you so much. And we're looking forward to doing these conversations. So hopefully Tanner will find another time to have a similar conversation, whether it be on another topic or continue.
Yeah, I would love that. It's a great opportunity. Like I said, I mean, it helps us tremendously to develop our brand and you know, kind of get that exposure. So whatever we can do for you going forward, I'd love to continue the conversation.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it, and look forward to where Blue Nose are for the next year.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Take
Bye-bye.